Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ijoma. I'm a family medicine attending, wife, and mom. And today's video is all about my journey. How did I get here? And the reason why I'm making this video is because, as I've mentioned a couple times in some of my past videos, I have been working with medical students. And as an attending now, it is very surreal to work with a medical student, to experience like I've worked with first, second, and third year medical students, to see it with my eyes from my perspective now. It forced me to reflect and like remember where I came from, because it feels like I was just there. But I graduated medical school in 2019. Yeah, graduated college 2015, med school 2019, residency 2022. So technically I finished med school, it was 5 years ago. But I was a totally different person then. And it's just wild how I can like have something to offer to medical students now, like as an attending, and things come so naturally to me, whereas they're not to the medical student, and like I used to be there. So it's caused me to reflect, and I don't know, I just want to talk about it. Vlogging has become like kind of a nice outlet for me, whereas sometimes I used to journal and write, but now I just like talking. So I don't really have a script, but I just want to, talk a little bit about my journey, reflect on how I got here, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have in the comments. We are a growing community here, a small family, and I enjoy hearing from you guys, reading comments, and so please continue to do that. Leave comments and questions. Feel free to email me, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, if you are interested in me and family medicine and, motherhood and wifehood and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into it. So it all started back in 1993 when I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I was born, I will say that some of the origin story is important, but so I was born to Nigerian immigrant parents. I was first generation American. I am first generation American, along with my older sister and my younger brother. We were raised in a typical first generation household, very strict, sheltered. Education is the most important thing. I was naturally a nerd, honestly. It wasn't by force, but yeah, academic was most important. I was not encouraged to do extracurricular activities. I played basketball, I ran track. For myself, my parents never came to any of my stuff. They just groaned about me having to go to practice and why am I doing this and it's not important and whatever, usual stuff. But anytime it was like school related, it was like hip, hip, hip. I used to play in the band, they made me quit because it was interfering with school. So that was me growing up. But I knew that I was smart and I enjoyed challenges. I wanted a career that I was gonna have to continue to stay on my toes. I did not want something that was gonna be easy. And I wanted to have good job security. I wanted to be able to talk to people and relate with people. So, and my parents are are Nigerian, so it was doctor, lawyer, engineer. So, so I chose medical school. And not quite like that, but I'm just trying to make this short. I went to public high school and went to a public university in Georgia. I went to the University of Georgia, go Dogs. That's where I declared pre-med. I was in the College of Agricultural Sciences, so I had a biological sciences major, which is different from biology major. The main differences I think back then was because I got more electives, and I think later, like the last 2 years was like less, I didn't have to take certain extra courses that the biology major had to do. I could do more like fun stuff or chill stuff. So I will say the first 2 years, those prereqs, The first year I did okay. I was always a nerd. I studied really hard. I was that girl who could study for like 8 hours straight. I could pull an all-nighter. I just enjoyed it. I liked to read. I liked to learn. So that was never really an issue for me. I would go out and party, go out with my friends, still be like making good grades. That was just my person. I was just that kid, that girl. Until organic chemistry. And organic chemistry like really took me out. I was failing. I think that's when I got my first like C. And I was crying, like, oh my God, my parents, I'm gonna fail. Like, you know, I don't know. It was just like, I was so used to performing well, and organic chemistry pretty much took me out. But I didn't have to repeat it, but I think I just kind of barely, I think I got a C. I can't even remember, but I literally, it's blocked out of my memory. A lot of my friends, that's where the split came, was organic chemistry and the like. So it's like people who made it through that, they call it, what they call it, a weed out class. If you made it through that, then okay, you were like good enough to continue with pre-med courses. And if you couldn't make it through that, that's where a lot of people end up diverting. Like how my friends maybe changed to different majors. But yeah, I was able to make it through, but it was a lot of late nights and I was stressed. That's probably the first time I felt like real stress. Cut to like later in college, you know, after I got over the major hump, because you know, you apply to med school, I think it's like your junior year, you take the MCAT. Oh Lord. Okay, yeah, I started studying for the MCAT in my junior year, and I took it the summer after my junior year going into my senior year. I took the MCAT, if I remember correctly, because I had to apply shortly after that. And I remember studying for the MCAT while I was taking a genetics class and something else. And I would finish class, go to the library. On Saturday mornings, I would go by myself to the Learning Student Center, take practice tests every Saturday. That's just, those things I remember. I was still doing other stuff, like I was president of African Student Union. I was, you know, helping with our production that we do, like our big show. I was, you know, puffing up my resume. So I was doing like whatever, pre-med student association and some other stuff that honestly I really wasn't that interested in, but I was trying to like do things to improve my resume. I even did this crazy research project. This was like my third year. I did this research project with chickens, y'all. Like, I still remember. It's like such a vivid memory. We were testing about some different amino acid in the chicken feed, if it made a difference in their growth. And because I was in the College of Agriculture, so those were like the types of projects available to me. And everybody was like, you need to have research on your application when you apply to med school. So I was like, let me just find something. So I did that, and I had to go to, this was after class or on days where, because I think at this point, maybe there was like a day I didn't have class, or maybe I only had 1 or 2 classes. So after class, I would go, me and this other girl, we would go to this farm off the campus, well, on campus, but like away. And we would have our chickens, like they were just stacked in these cages. And I knew the ones that were tagged, and my job was to go in and weigh them. We were tracking their weight like every day. So I had certain days. So I literally would have to go in, grab the chicken like this, like with his wings, and it's like flicking, you know, and I had to dump it into this, not dump it, but place it into this like basket thing to weigh it. And I would write it down on the log. And but I got a poster. That's all I needed, I guess. And I presented it at our school's research situation. It wasn't anything more fancy than that, but it was enough for me to put it on my resume. Like that was literally all I was trying to do. So I did a bunch of stuff to keep myself busy. And I think I was very grateful for my major because, like I said, I just got more flexibility towards the end of college where like, okay, like I can just kind of enjoy myself now. I was able to even do a study abroad in my senior year where I went to Europe. So those things were good. I got accepted. I applied, I can't remember all these details, but I applied to definitely more than 10 med schools, between 10 and 15. And I got accepted into maybe half of them, not all of them, but maybe half. And I don't know why. I think I was like really interested in, I was really interested in going to UNC. And I don't know what it is about UNC. I think it's the basketball team, but I was always drawn there. I wanted to go there for undergrad, but my parents talked me out of it because of the out-of-state tuition, which I'm grateful for that they did, because hello, student loans. I got accepted to my in-state school. I already knew like other people going there. I was just like, I'm good with this. I think it was $30,000 a year, which is still a lot, but we're better than 50 or 60. Like Morehouse was like 60 a year. So some of it was financial. And also I just was enjoying being closer to home. I think like it was far enough away, Augusta, Georgia, where MCG was, where I could drive. I did a lot of driving back then. Even from UGA, I would drive back and forth home multiple times a year. So, I don't know. It just kind of felt good to me. I was like, you know, I want to go to med school and I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be hard enough to get like time away. So I want to be close to home so that if I do have time, I don't have to like book a flight. Like I can just come home. So, and the finances, I think those were the main reasons why I chose MCG. I never like, I don't know. Oh, and diversity. That was another big thing too, obviously. Like I wanted a school that was sizable, not overwhelming, but definitely, you know, sizable. I didn't want it to be too small, and I wanted diversity. And MCG did have that to boast. Their last class before our class had like, I think like 15% like Black people, and in terms of overall diversity of like non-white, I think it was like 30% or something. I don't know, but it was good enough like compared to UGA. I just wanted ongoing diversity. So there were multiple reasons, but that was that. So packed my bags off to the Medical College of Georgia and started medical school. I met my roommate for med school online through our Facebook page, and the rest is history with that. We are still like the best of friends till this day. We have like a date. She moved to Houston now. That's Ify, which she has been on my channel before, but I don't know. We have a date in the next 2 weeks, hanging out, but we became roommates, and we got ourselves through medical school. There was a group of about like, I don't know, call it 10. I can't think of everyone's name off the top of my head. We called ourselves the MCG Queens, Medical College of Georgia Queens. All beautiful Black women and our honorary Brazilian. And we just carried each other because medical school, if undergraduate was like hard, medical school was like WTF. But one of the reasons why I chose MCG, I remember now, is because of the curriculum. I loved the way that class was only from 8 to 12, and that was it. Certain days of the week, you would have afternoon activities for physical diagnosis, like learning how to do physical exam and problem-based learning. But the didactic lectures was 4 hours, and then that was it. So at some point, you just design a routine for yourself. So sometimes people were early morning people. They would do their stuff, come to class, and have the day off. Some people were afternoon people where you go to class. After class, you digest all the material, which was me. And then you do your thing. Some people were just DIY because they recorded the lectures. People never came to class. They would just video it 2x speed and take their notes and figure it out and show up on Friday for the quiz. So you had flexibility. I loved that. They didn't force everybody into one box. So I appreciated that. And then there was also a lot of old notes, people who because lectures obviously repeat. So there were old like alumni who passed down their notes that were really well taken. So people were like very detailed about their notes. And that was just helpful. We did study groups. I loved studying by myself or with a partner. I had one of my partners that I studied with all the time, Crystal. I studied with my roommate a lot, but my roommate was very intense. She was more intense than me, okay? Like I could study for like 8 hours straight. She could study for 12 hours straight. She wouldn't even eat. Like, she was intense. That's why she's an OBGYN. And I do family medicine. But, so we couldn't always study together, but we studied together a fair amount of time. It was just, I switched it up, but I have my one general study partner that I have. And we would, usually I would go to class, take my notes, be locked in, like, yes, the glycosylated, yes, Krebs cycle, yes, blah, 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 blah. Highlighting on my PDF, you know, on my laptop, doing my notes. I had my split screen. Oh, like I still remember my lecture slides were here, my notes were here. I was typing, copy and pasting. Like while the lecture was going, I was just locked in, and then afterward I would decompress and eat, and then I would go over the material again. That's kind of how I did it pretty much every day. And then after that I would go to the gym. It was just routine. And did a lot of cooking. Didn't really eat out a lot. Didn't have money. I was living on student loans. But I did save my money enough to at least be able to go on a couple of trips with these girls. We went to Cuba. We also went to Spain. I think those were our 2 big trips. I think we did a Florida trip or something. I can't remember. Oh, we went to Vegas. You know, so we did do some fun things because the way the schedule was, it was just nice. I liked the balance that MCG gave us. It was hard. Whew. Especially studying for your board exams, but the way they scheduled it, it was kind of nice. You were able to, you had quizzes on Friday, so then your weekends could be chill before the new round of material coming in, stuff like that. So I enjoyed the scheduling, and I came in already wanting to do primary care, so that was just confirmed along the way. When I would meet people who also wanted to do my specialty, it was like, yes. When I met people who were doing other specialties, it was like, no. Like, it just worked out. I would go to the interest group meeting, I'm like, yes. I had like a mentor who was like leading our group for the physical diagnosis, and she was family medicine, and it was just like, yes, like, I want to do that. Like, I like that. So it was not more complicated than that. It was just a matter of, yes, I like that. Okay, so next stop, moving on from medical school to residency, there's interview season, right? So I was pre-COVID in this time frame, and this was a time where when you wanted to go to residency, you would go and interview in person. So you would apply to different programs through the ERAS. All the extra details, honestly, I know you have your step scores, you have to upload all this stuff about what were you doing, what were you active in, and for me, most of it was SNMA, I was president, and I did homeless clinic. I was very active in that. Those were my main 2 things, but there was a couple other stuff, and I remember interview season, just really enjoying that time because I was able to travel. I did a couple pockets of places that I knew I would consider going to. I remember I signed up for Clear. I got free 3-month trial. I was just jet setting. I got this new carry-on bag, which I still use now, and for my sister. And I went off. I went to DC area. I interviewed at Georgetown and George Washington, I can't remember. I went to North Carolina, I interviewed at Duke and Atrium Health. I went to Georgia, of course, I interviewed with our program, I interviewed at Morehouse, I think. I went to Texas, I interviewed at UT. That was like red flag. I went to, I think it was one of the main pockets. I can't remember, but yeah, and I just enjoyed that time. I got sharpened my own interview skills, got my suits and stuff. I had to put like paper towels under my armpits. I was like sweating. I was so nervous during my interviews, and then I would come out and like take them out because my shirts were like getting so sweaty. But it was a good time. I remember just feeling like a powerful person and feeling like I was the prize. Like, I have something to offer. Like, these people need me. They want me. I mean, they have a lot of options, but I am like the total package. I can do the work. I'm disciplined. I just knew that like, this is what I was supposed to be doing. So with residency, it's a match. So you don't get to choose, but you do get to rank. And I ended up in Charlotte, which was my #1 choice. I loved the city of Charlotte. Like, I don't know what it was, but as soon as I got there, I was just like, I should be here. It's such a lovely city. And again, I always say, like, if I didn't meet my husband in residency and that didn't happen, I probably would have stayed in Charlotte. If I stayed single, I would have stayed in Charlotte. I love Charlotte. So that was my number one choice because of the location, the diversity, the leadership of the program. So match day rolls around at our school. It's a huge celebration. You get to dress up, wear a costume and like superhero theme, and you find out where you're going. And found out where I was matching, and I was very excited. I matched to my number one choice, just feeling as wanted as I wanted to be there. And later found out about like co-residents, and like maybe one person from my medical school class matched as well to the same program. And it was just fun. It was just fun. It was exciting to transition. I was broke in between that transition. Like literally everything was just on credit card. I had no money until like I got my first residency paycheck, and I could finally start paying off like my credit cards and stuff. I bought a condo. I lived very frugally in Charlotte. Well, I'm a frugal person in general, but lived very frugally, saved a lot of money. And residency was residency was an experience. It took me from the dwindled, like bright-eyed girl to a physician. Honestly, I graduated medical school with an MD. I had done clinical rotations. I had done a sub-I. I had known what I was going to be doing. I was definitely performing clinically, but I never had my own patient. As a medical student, you can know everything, but someone's always on the back end correcting you. And as a resident, yes, you're practicing under somebody else's license, but it's your patients now, and you have the responsibility. You're the one in the hospital. The attending is at home. You're the one who's looking at the patient. You're the one who's seeing the clinic patient. The preceptor stays in the preceptor room. You know, so this was the real deal, the real training, the real twisting my mind, the real application. I felt myself wanting to read more. Like I was like, I have a patient in front of me that I need to know what to do. And I have to read about it so I don't know what to do. And I apply it directly back to that patient. It was such a learning experience because medical school is so didactic heavy. And even on your clinical rotations, you read what they tell you to read. And then it's not the same. It's not your patient. But as a resident, it is. And you are the one who's responsible for their care. You're the one who's talking to the family in the ICU. You're the one who's reviewing the lab results and like, you know, just so many things. So it was that responsibility that I needed. That's what molded me into the physician that I am now. You get to like take information from other attendings, develop your style, chisel yourself. As a medical student, you're just holding up a leg, you know, like you don't even, you're just there as a fly on the wall. You're soaking stuff in, but you don't even know what you just don't know. That's why I see the medical students now, and I just try not to put that much pressure on them because some of them don't even know what specialty they want to do yet. So it's just, it's crazy like that gap of what residency did for me. It really turned me into the true physician that I am. Like I was able to see patients efficiently. Like as a medical student, they just leave you in there. Nobody's checking your time and nobody's worried about you. You know, who cares? And you just ask the patient however many questions you want. You have time. You may see 1 or 2 patients while your attending sees 15. You know, it's just not the same. In residency, it's your schedule. You have a schedule now. These are the patients you're seeing. It's just a huge learning curve. But when you have the right support, family-wise, friends-wise, and professionally, you can do well. The problem is when you don't have that support, there's cracks. You can get burned out before you even start. But thankfully for me, my scheduling was never that bad. After a rough rotation, I usually had it good. It was rarely 2 in a row. We got a lot of weekends off. The call schedule wasn't too bad. It was like a lot of people who rotated on call. So, you know, you guys kind of saw more of my residency journey detailed in my videos, but it wasn't terrible. Of course, I was in a relationship that eventually ended. I met my husband on Instagram. We talked and he came to visit. That was during my intern year? No, second year? I don't even know. I think it was my second year. Anyway, it was COVID. It was right when COVID came. So it was my second year, yeah. So I remember because we was like going on flights, like nobody was on the plane. We're like, what are we doing? I'm going to see each other. But, you know, the residency was just like life came back to me. Medical school, it was like I'm in a box. I missed so many things. I couldn't go travel. I was just like, it was like to study. It was like quizzes all the time, so much pressure. You had to perform well. But residency is like, I'm already here, okay? Like, I'm already here. I don't need to impress anybody. It's literally me. Like, this is my time to learn. I need to take advantage of it. Like, you're working for yourself and for your future patients. It's not like you're working for an exam. So, you know, you make your time to do your stuff. I always operate on a calendar. Every hour was outlined to the T. Same thing in med school, same thing in residency. Looked at my calendar. I had color coding, a full line of the day. I knew exactly what was going on. But yeah, residency for me, it was balanced. I took trips. I developed a new core group of friends. This time it was just 3 of us, which we're still very close to this day. And I was close to all my co-residents. We were very family oriented, but you know, you're not gonna be best friends with everybody. So I definitely have my closer friends, and we hung out, we socialized. We also grinded. On those months when it was time to grind, you grinded. When you were on inpatient, you were leading the service, grinded. You woke up early, you came home late, you grinded. But then you had those other months where things were more chill. So residency really chiseled me and got me ready. I knew the type of work I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to work with underserved patients. That's just because of the patient population I worked with in residency. I felt connected to those patients, and I appreciated that they appreciated me, as opposed to feeling like a sense of entitlement that you get in private practice. So when I was hunting for jobs, that's kind of what I was looking for. And I eventually was denied from 2 positions after interviewing for attending work, and then finally did get this job. There was another job that I was offered, but when I compared the 2, this one that I have now, it gave me more structure as a new attending. I kind of still wanted some structure, and I was still able to stay in somewhat of an academic, I'm 100% clinical, but I'm able to at least do some academic stuff, which is manifesting now in the medical students. So that brings me to now. I talked a lot in this video, but that's just like how I went along. Like, I was very professional, always stayed on the ball in terms of studying and academics, but I always made time for friends, friendship, family, and staying close to home helped make that possible. I would always recommend staying close to home, where you can easily access your home base, but be open to new friendships. I have the best of friends, several of which, well, one of my college friends were my bridesmaids. Med school friends, still very close with. They were still part of my tribe in the wedding, and we still do trips and stuff together. Residency friends, we're like just doing life together. Like, we have kids, some of them have kids, and the other one's about to get married. We're just like on that type of time. And it's just been a beautiful life that God has given to me. It's not always been easy, but each step has just proven itself as the way I'm supposed to go. I've never felt like, what am I doing? Well, I have had those times when like med school is really hard and stuff. I'm just like, what is happening? Or when I first felt anxiety as a resident, I literally froze while there was like a child who was coding. I literally froze. My brain, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't move. People were just running by me. I was right there, and I was the only doctor, I was a resident. I was an intern. Nurses were like flying by, telling me to like do something or move out of the way. Like, are you gonna help? Oh my God, that was traumatizing. So I mean, I had like those traumatic moments, and I had bad things happen. I've lost patients, but I never felt like I wasn't supposed to be on the path to medicine. And I'm just grateful to God that He brought me here and brought me this far, and I have this career and family that I love. And I'm gonna stop talking now. If I didn't answer any specific questions, just comment, and I can maybe do another video expounding on details, or I can just answer them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.